that have a bunch of Stone Skin potions, Corrupted Crystal and Weapon can be pretty good. Dragon kind of good against Lightsaber too. Yeah. Dragon's really nice on Ranger if you can get it. Just another thing that doesn't use stam that scales with Empower. It's basically a bow that doesn't need stam. And easier to fit. Oh, we lose fight 1. Oh yeah, Rocket Bag. Yeah. I think we take this instead of rolling. Up. Get that in the bag. Double shovel. That seems like a cool excuse to do something different. There's probably a not very difficult way to get this in the Ranger bag, but you have very little luck anyway. On sale, you say? Beautiful. Oh, did I? I'll have to open the bag. Whoops. My bad. We don't need it. It's fine. God, it's like invisible. How does anyone see that? I think it just stays in the bag. Did we get the coal? It was on sale. Pain. It's gonna be great next turn. We theoretically could crit wood, but I don't know about that one. Steel Goob? I don't think you ever make Steel Goob. I don't think Steel Goob's an item. I think if you get into Shovel, Ranger can have some awkward times against Shovel. It doesn't take many procs to just all of a sudden miss all of your attacks. Especially against Reaper, where if you just miss too many attacks, you die to the poison. We can let that combine.
Okay.
I guess we'd like rotate the Ranger bag and have Acorn Collar on everything. It was decent in the multi-weapon Stampot comps. Yeah. I agree. Whoa. My only mana gem other than the Sapphire. There for Pathfinder these days. Same as always, you never take it. I wouldn't have it on the magic staff, right? It fits everything. You have luck gen. Steel sword not touching gloves. I'm aware. Oh, I can do this now. Yeah. That's better. Easy fix. I guess Cole could go in the fanny pack. Could matter a little bit. Bonk. Start taking defensive layers. We need Mana Orb, but we'll get that with time. I guess we could let this combine. Have a backup. Double shovel! Got luck gen though, should be fine. Unless our clock is really slow. Our clock might just be really slow. Okay. Woohoo! Yeah, we played Ruina on stream. Well, most of it. I didn't feel like dealing with the final gauntlet, so We stopped around there. Yeah, definitely worth. Definitely worth. Especially if you don't mind dealing with, like, slightly clunky UIs. But if you're looking for a game with just, like, a solid story and some interesting mechanics, definitely worth checking out. How important is it to finish the previous game? You don't need to play Lobotomy Corporation. If you want, you can, like, read a summary or watch someone's summary video of it, but it's not that important for the plot. There's a little bit of lore you'll miss out on, but not a huge deal. It's Magic Staff forever. If you take Piercing Arrow, I think it's always Magic Staff forever. You never want to make Pirtwood with this thing. Should probably just block the staff even. Just make sure I don't make a mistake there. Lobotomy Corporation is fun, but a totally different type of game from Ruina or Limbus. I think you are the first person that I have heard call Lobotomy Corporation fun. I've heard a lot of positive descriptors around Lobotomy Corporation, but you were the first one to use the word fun. Like, interesting, fun to read, great lore. Punishing, but in a rewarding way. Never fun. Never fun. Poll in the Discord, just surprised how many like the reroll cost. I'm not. It's a fine change. I guess I don't know exactly how many, but I didn't look at the poll. Let me see if I can find it. Where would the poll be? Wait. Oh, here it is, the poll section. Oh, really small responses, though. Like 20 people have responded. We'll talk about this after the game. Wherever pivoting lightsaber. Another orb. I mean, if people liking it is pretty important. If people don't enjoy the game, or they enjoy it less after the change, that sort of inherently makes it not a very healthy change. I think generally you want to avoid changes that decrease people's enjoyment of the game. Yeah, I do think there's definitely room for nuance when talking about the roles, but it is like often lost in Discord conversations. But if a big chunk of the player base has a big visceral negative reaction to having to pay more gold for rerolls after rolling a couple times, that is a sign that maybe you should try something else instead of having that be your solution to comps being forcible. Yeah, I'm with you. It's not that big of a deal for me. What other solution do I have in mind? Prioritizing adding more items into the pools. Maybe messing around with rarities a bit. The devs have better long-term vision than the player base, and a bit of paying short beats the alternative. Yeah, I don't disagree. But if they're posting a poll about how people feel about it, then how people feel about it matters to how they're evaluating their solution, right? Like, they're not just gonna ask the question if it doesn't matter to them. Or maybe they will, actually. Maybe I'm just totally wrong here, and they just want people to feel like they have input. Definitely possible. What are we doing here? I want defensive layers. This counts as a defensive layer. This is a defensive layer against fatigue. It says you don't lose to fatigue. That's that's defense, right? Yeah. I knew this day was gonna come. I was just hoping that it would come a bit later. I didn't want to have to do this yet. That's not too bad, actually. Yep. That is how it goes. Ideally, you find middle grounds, but those don't always exist. I feel like the middle ground is just eventually enough items get added to the game that pools are diluted enough that you can't just force things, but yeah, that's definitely a longer term stretch goal. I'm also not sure how successful the reroll change has been at stopping people from forcing builds. Or they rework things? Well, that's the reroll change. The reroll change is reworking the mechanics. Yeah, you can do that. Shouldn't be rolling with us. Do I want? Seems a little unnecessary. That needs time to ramp up damage anyway. I don't think the change does anything for the early game. It's like almost irrelevant in the early game. It starts mattering like turn 6 or 7. When you're aggressively searching for a comp. But early on, you weren't rerolling 4 times in a turn anyway. You've only got so much gold to work with. Book timing! I should just do this. You always complained about early game RNG. It was a meta to reroll a lot and get good sales. If you roll 4 times trying to get a good sale, you're throwing away all of the advantage of getting a good sale. Like, yeah, RNG of getting good sales is big in the early game, but not because you can roll 4 times to look for good sales. It just turns out getting things at half price is really good. What am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just buying random shit. I feel like if that's the reason for the change, that's a pretty bad reason for the change. What are they trying to achieve? Again, it's the mid-game stuff. It makes it harder to just like force a comp starting from the mid-game when you have 12 gold a turn. That's when you are actually rolling a bunch to try to find exact items. But it was a really common play pattern to just like, okay, I need to find exactly Mana Orb, I'm gonna donkey roll until I find exactly Mana Orb. Why would you try to do that? Because you don't want to... We're playing an auto battler. You shouldn't just be forcing comps from the mid game every time. You want to have variety in the gameplay. Variety of comps? You want to make people play a variety of comps, not just play the same comp every game. You can still build coherent things, but you can't build an exact thing that you want to build from the start of the game every game. That's what's trying to be solved. Can I fix this? Not really. Guess that failed. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know how successful it was at fixing that, but I'm almost certain that's the problem that they're trying to solve. Ow. Can't prevent people from forcing high roll. No, but it was the optimal strat to always force the high roll builds. It shouldn't be the best thing to do in an auto battler to force the same comp every game, but it was. Almost every time someone makes it to GM or Grandma, they talk about how they just played the same comp over and over and over again. The game's supposed to be the time you pivot to something coherent. Making a change that nerf mid-game rerolls not going to address the fact that you can force from turn 1. But it's not because you can force from turn 1. Like, the reason you can force from turn 1 is that mid-game consistency is so high. It's not like the early game stuff is the reason you're able to force lightsabers, or you're able to force unhealing, or you're able to force the... I guess the hero longsword stuff was early game, but... Usually it's just... You know you're going to be able to hit the stuff that you need on turn 6 or 7. Like when Potion Bomb was good. That comp was a bunch of epics and a legendary. And you could consistently hit it. But that's also why they're diluting the common pool with stuff like Bag of Coal to stop like the hero longsword stuff from when that was very strong. Have more variance in the early game as well. Like, I think those are two very different issues of early game consistency and mid game consistency. I think mid game consistency is a bigger problem for the overall health of the game, but they're both probably seen as issues. But different things are solving both of the problems. I don't think the reroll change was an attempt at solving the early game, but like adding Lump of Coal and moving Blinding Sand down to common. Was a way to try to introduce more variety into the early game. Do I need this? So you cannot get what you want in the mid-game. Well, the idea is you're open to a variety of things like in other auto-battlers. It's not from turn 1 you have a specific line in mind. It's depending on what you see in the mid-game, you branch out. Like in every other auto-battler. But I don't think in any of the time that I've been playing this game, it has mattered to have a versatile mid-game strat. Because the early game is so consistent. Or because the mid game is so consistent. Yeah, I think this game allows significantly more forcing than other auto-battlers. I don't know about auto chess, but from playing Storybook Brawl, from playing Battlegrounds, I think it is significantly easier to force in this game than in the others. From my understanding, it's really important to play Flex and TFT as well, though I'm far from a TFT expert. Damage scaling still a bit too low. I guess we just need speed here. Does this work? Yeah, I don't disagree. Like, I don't think any of these issues that I'm saying are, like, insurmountable or not something the dev is thinking about, but... On Sale Claw? Oh, true. Flex and TFT only matters in healthy metas, which are rare. Well, I mean, the fact that you describe it that way kind of proves the point, right? It is seen as a problem when playing Flex isn't good. But sure. Just gonna grab another potion. I agree with you. The problem is forcing builds in this game was the way to reach the max rank. Like, playing Flex was worse than just forcing builds, because it was so easy to force builds. Like, doing well generally is just identifying a comp that works well into the current metagame and then playing as many games with that comp as you can. Why do I have all these gems on my board? What are we doing? Don't answer that. I don't want to know what I'm doing. I'm pressing buttons. It's the last round already. Button. Isn't it also because they keep nerfing the most meta build each time instead of letting them compete against each other? I don't think so. Nerfing everything that's good doesn't necessarily take away flexibility. Like, if there's more things that are at the level directly below the current best thing, then theoretically you're improving the number of options. I have been double chonked. Chonkalicious. Yeah, what a board. I got the Charizards for the initial heat, too. This is the dream chonk board.